Hey guys, so what I wanted to talk about today was less of an exercise and more of a way for you to create your own little kind of sweet-picked neoclassical sounding solos by building from a pretty simple concept, judging by something like a one-string scale pattern. So today we're going to be in C harmonic minor, which is my favorite, and we're going to start on the raised 7th of that, which would be on the 7th fret on the high E string, because of course this is C, our root. And the pattern we're going to do goes 7, 8, 10, 11, 13, 15, 16, 19, another raised 7th, and then back to root. And why that's important is because when you create a sweet-picked solo in just the key of C, it's really important to just think of things in one note at a time, as opposed to thinking, well, I have to just go... Because it's just an information overload, and your brain is just going to blow up from info. And that's why a lot of people are shy away from things like sweep arpeggios, because, I mean, it is a lot of information, but once you break it down into something simple, like a one-note pattern, and then just expand on that, it becomes a lot more doable. So let's just take those notes again. 7, 8, 10, 11, 13, 15, 16, 19, 20. And think of what we can do just from the start. Most people would know the triads, which would be first inversion, second inversion, and third inversion. And, those are fine, and it's a good reference point, but there's so much you can do in between there, because of all the notes we just played from our scale, that only takes up these. Not too many. So let's add on to that. So the first one we would think of is first inversion. But after that, there's no divine rule saying we have to go to second inversion, right? I mean, there's a lot of other notes we could do there. So as long as the notes work on that E string, then you're pretty much going to have them work in a 3-string arpeggio pattern, because you're obviously going to be playing the octave of something, unless you're doing diminished, in which case you're still just kind of thinking, okay, as long as these two notes check out on my high E, then I'm still going to be okay. So let's just take that first inversion and move it down a fret. All these notes check out. Okay. So we've got 10, 7, and after that, we could play a major, possibly. A favorite of mine is to go... Or if you wanted to switch it up a little bit, you can think to yourself, okay, so if I drop this down to the B, does this check out? Yep, because 16th fret, that's part of our scale, which means 9th fret is too. So let's make that a diminished. And again, if you want to check again on the root of that, not the root, but the 10th fret on the G, 13th fret on the E, that works. So we've got or. So those are our first two sets of notes right there. And we can move up now, and thinking, okay, what if I want to move up to the 13th and the 10th fret? Obviously, if this diminish works here, this is 3 notes up, which means diminish will work here. Or, what I will do sometimes when I'm doing a faster, like 30-second note pattern, is I'll take another major there, because these all check out too. That's natural minor, but, again, if I'm in a harmonic minor, it's cool to throw a natural minor thing in there from time to time, because it doesn't hurt anything, So we've got... And those all work. So so far, we have used all of, which means we can now move up to the second inversion. And again, simple enough right there. We've got that. And what I'll like to do sometimes is, again, when we talk about the second inversion being Again, that's 15, 13, or 15, 11, 13, 12. That's fine, but sometimes I like to expand on that and use other notes from the scale and add them into that second inversion pattern. So let's say we've used the 10th so far, which means the 13th will work, in a diminished shape, which means the 16th will work, and the 19th. So because my hands aren't like 8 feet long, let's just take that 15 and 11 and move our pinky one way up to the 16th, and move our pointer down one way to the 10th. So you've basically taken that second inversion pattern and added that diminished flair into it. It gives it sort of like a necrophagus sort of vibe. Mohamed Susamez was super good at doing this sort of thing. And so far, we have checked off the list. And again, there's nothing against you moving a diminished pattern up there after the second inversion too and going like... Okay, so now that we've got the 16th fret checked off, the last two notes that we have to check off of our little lists here to be able to use every single note in an arpeggio pattern are the 19th fret, which I often do the diminished on because that just sounds so cool before a third inversion lick. So we would go pretty simple, you know, nothing special there. And then we move up one fret to our C again, and that's when the third inversion comes in. So that's 20, 15, 16, 17. So basically, the most important thing to do in an exercise like this and to create your own cool neoclassical sounding solos is to work on this pattern here of the single strings. And find out all of the arpeggios you can do just from the E to G strings on here. And basically, this is all octaves repeating octaves. So if it works on the Gs, and G, B, and E, you can always expand that to the D, A, and E strings because, again, you're just doing octave progression. This is mostly triad work. So if it works up here, it's going to work down here. So for example, and this is one take Willieing, so give me a break here if this sounds like ass. But let's just say I want to make something out of every single one of those notes. I could go like... Yeah, naturally I screw up that last note. But that's the thing, it's like, you know, you can make all of those patterns work, and whichever chord progression you want to put behind that, you can use some flatted fifth chords, you can use just kind of ninth chords even would sound really cool. They're like a C9, it's just, you know, flatted fifth. Anything like that would sound super cool over a progression like that, and really... your imagination is the only thing stopping you here. And you can always listen to, like, more Beethoven, and he'll add, like, extra notes into there. So as opposed to even just doing a first inversion going, he could go... So start with that single string on the high E. Maybe you want to add 3 notes on your first inversion or your second or third inversion, and then work from there as opposed to just the normal 2. You know, just use your imagination here. So if you can come up with 10 licks by this time next week using combinations from here to here, you're definitely going to add a crazy new flair to whatever you want to be doing, whether it's, you know, prog, jazz, deathcore, anything neoclassical with a neoclassical vibe in it, any kind of metal genre, is going to add some kind of special flair to it. Alright guys, have fun with this. See you next time.